I have been informed that my announcement has been deemed disrespectful.
Listen up, Dwayne, you bald fraud.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the greatest of all time.
Seth Rollins, I'm coming for you, boy. And I'm coming hard.
I am a visionary. I am a revolutionary.
The never seen 17.
Look at you now, boy. Look at you now. 4 letters, 1 word.
Last real champion, John Cena.
Lead us off.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Rasslin with Ryan and Mike.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
There he is. Look at yeah, I can't tell who's who.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah, I can't tell who's who.
All I need is just a title belt right here. But
Yes, sir.
what's up, Ryan? How's it going?
It's going, just chilling. I had to go over what we're talking about today. I had to make my list so I keep
Yes,
track
sir.
of where I am at.
And what are we talking about today, Ryan?
Today we are talking our top 10 title wins on free TV. So this is like a Raw or a SmackDown or just a show that's you don't have to pay for.
Right. Yeah, so it'll be a good topic for our podcast today, Rasslin with Ryan and Mike. We're recording on Wednesday. What's today's date? January 13th.
Today's
14th.
Tuesday.
Oh, today's
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yes,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
I got my days
You got your
mixed up.
days mixed up. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. But today's
All good.
Tuesday, January 13th, 2026. Yeah, it's a beautiful day out here in beautiful Southern California. Yeah. And then, it's a good day to talk about wrestling for all of our wrestling folks that have been with us since the start. This is a new era, like Triple H likes to say. This is a new era in wrestling with Ryan and Mike.
Yeah. Except we actually mean it. We're actually men of our word. So
Exactly. There's not going to be another new era in like 3 months.
yeah. Yeah, it's not gonna reset like quarterly.
Exactly.
So so recapping Raw. Of course, Raw was on earlier. It was on at 11 a.m. for us yesterday because they were live in Dusseldorf, Germany,
Dusseldorf.
or
It's a
however
funny
you
name.
say it. Yeah,
But you know
however
what?
it's
All
pronounced.
respect to the people of Dusseldorf.
Yes, you guys got a good show. You were a good crowd, loud. But yeah, the show kicked off with the new women's tag team champions Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, and they basically were reiterating that they'll take on any and all challenges, and then that's when you had Liv and Roxanne come out, you had Bayley and Lyra come out, and then you had the Kabuki Warriors come out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and what a good show it was from the previous week. The previous week it was Stranger Things edition. We had a whole podcast on that, and it was such a dud for
A whole
it
lot
being
of nothing,
such-
yeah.
Yeah. And so Raw, I think, rebounded this week into putting out a pretty good product. And yeah, I think altogether was a successful show. Kicking things off into basically, people like to say the start of the Royal Rumble is the road to WrestleMania, but I think we are already on the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think it kind of starts when like the new year begins.
Mhm.
It just you won't hear them advertise it until the Royal Rumble. Because
Right.
that's how they like to roll. But, they start to build and, things are slowly starting to take shape.
Right, exactly. But big storylines on Monday Night Raw now. Well, a couple big storylines going on. One, a very surprising storyline: Finn Balor getting a world title match next week in
Belfast.
Belfast. All right, I was going to say Dublin, but yeah.
So another early start time for us here in the US. It'll be at noon for us.
All right. Talk to us about how Finn Balor got the world title match for next week.
So we know Dom has the Intercontinental Championship. Liv was the Women's World Champion, and now she's back in the Women's Tag Title picture. Raquel Rodriguez is going after the Women's World Title. And so Liv was basically like, "Where's your title? You said you were going to carry the Judgment Day, and that this was the year of Finn Balor." And it basically motivated him. He saw an opportunity and he took it. He came out, interrupted CM Punk, talked to him, and even Punk was like, "Yeah, what's wrong? Like, this isn't you." And then he called himself the Prince, which is like the Finn Balor of old, the Finn Balor
Of
that,
NXT
yeah, the good Finn Balor,
of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
yeah. And so he asked for a title match. CM Punk gave it to him, and it's going to happen next week in Belfast. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. It should be a great match. You know, you got two great wrestlers, and what's for sure to be a hot crowd, especially with Finn being the homegrown. He'll probably have the crowd behind him.
Them putting Finn Balor in a title match is pretty interesting because Finn Balor, for the most part, over the last several years, has been an afterthought in WWE, and that's not Finn Balor. Finn Balor is an absolute first ballot Hall of Famer pro wrestler. Not only his work in WWE, but again, New Japan Pro Wrestling. In Europe, all over the world, this guy has been an influencer in terms of the new generation coming into professional wrestling. I mean, he was the start of the Bullet Club in New Japan, which led the way to many things in the scope of professional wrestling. Without the Bullet Club, there would be no All Elite Wrestling, because without the Bullet Club, there would be no the Young Bucks. Without the Young Bucks, there wouldn't be the Elites. There would be no All Elite Wrestling. So that's changed the landscape of pro wrestling. And then coming in, look at how many different versions of the Bullet Club there has been throughout the years. It's made its name. And then Finn Balor making his way into WWE, he was coming in red hot, into NXT first, and then he was the NXT champion, then making his way to the main roster. Finn Balor, they had him beat Roman Reigns on his first night.
Cleanly, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Then they strapped the rocket to him. He won the newly minted
the first ever Universal Champion.
And then he got hurt, and he hasn't been champion since.
Not only hasn't been champion since, he hasn't been a main event player since. He basically, he's had main events and he's had a couple championship matches, but you can't tell me that Finn Balor has been any type of the focus in any shape or form since then. The only thing that he's done in terms of relevancy was he again faced Roman Reigns as the Demon, and then he got squashed as the Demon. I think this is back in 2021, 2022?
Yeah, I believe it was 20, because it was still during COVID.
Yes.
It was still the COVID era. And then that's when they had that really weird, awkward finish where the rope broke.
Yeah.
And Finn fell. It was like a really weird finish.
Yeah. And that's where John Cena screwed it. Well, before that, John Cena screwed him out of his championship match at SummerSlam. And Finn Balor never got his comeuppance on John Cena. Well, that's another. We've talked about that before. John Cena stealing title matches.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's interesting, especially because I do think Finn Balor deserves a push, but I don't like how they kind of just give him a world title match because they're going to Ireland. I mean, I understand because they want to have somebody like homegrown, but it's like, what did he do to earn it? It's not like he won a number one contenders match or anything.
Yeah, no, he didn't, and it's really surprising. Does Finn Balor have any chance of winning the world title on next week's Raw? Absolutely not. I think it's -0 chance, but he's fighting for the world title, and so I think with the other major storyline of Braun Breaker being suspended by general manager Adam Pearce, there's a couple ways they can have that match end up, and I think the most likely way, sparing Finn Balor of a pin, is Braun Breaker coming back out into Raw despite his suspension and
similar
then interrupting the world title match.
Yeah. Similar to Drew McIntyre. Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be interesting. It was also kind of cool to see Adam Pearce kind of like not just, sit back and like take it. Like he laid it down. I'm pretty sure I think he dropped a couple curse words.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's an interesting point because Paul Heyman said, "Be like, just remember, you laid your hand on him first."
Right. Yeah.
Because Adam Pearce
Exactly.
grabbed him and turned him around. So it'll
Hmm.
be interesting to see how that plays out. Is Braun Breaker going to go after Adam Pearce? Is
Right.
Adam Pearce going to do a match? Because I don't know if a lot of people might not remember. Adam Pearce was a wrestler for
Yeah.
a long time, and he wasn't that bad of a wrestler. I'm not saying he's going to get back in the ring, but you never know that maybe this is a storyline that could lead to it.
Yeah. There definitely could be. I mean, look, we've been saying that about Nick Aldis for a couple of years now, at
Yeah,
least,
well,
and it
because
hasn't happened.
I mean, there was one point where they were teasing Nick Aldis versus Adam Pearce.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens on next week going forward on Raw. Those were pretty much the big storylines this week on Monday Night Raw. But last Friday there was, I think it was much needed in terms of shaking up the landscape of SmackDown, because the landscape in SmackDown had just remained so boring over the last few months.
and I will say so far the first two episodes of 2026 for SmackDown have actually both been pretty solid episodes. So I
Hmm.
do think SmackDown is off to a good start. I mean,
Hmm.
there are some points in the middle of the show where it kind of was like kind of hard to watch, but
Right.
overall, I thought it was a solid show. I thought the three stages of hell, especially for it being on TV, I
Hmm.
thought it went really well for it being on TV.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. I thought it went really well. And I think, all things considered too, the wrestling match per se, even though it's not really considered like, wow, really dangerous. It's three stages of hell. Let's start off with a wrestling match. I think they pulled it off pretty well. Obviously they got Drew the victory there. But it, played into Drew ultimately winning the title. And talk to us about what happened at the end of the match.
Yeah, so we saw a man with a hooded figure come out.
Yeah.
At first, I couldn't figure out who it was at first, and then after I was like, "Oh, it's Jacob. It's Jacob Fatu." Um,
Now they gotta start selling these things on the shop, because how many hooded figures have you seen over the last
yeah,
six
we had the
months?
one at
Four
Survivor
or
Series.
five?
We had the Masked Man at Survivor Series. We had like the Masked Man on Raw a
Yeah,
couple times, and then this one. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's interesting, but yeah. So Jacob Fatu, he attacked Drew, and then Cody came in and he attacked Cody. And while him and Cody were fighting, Drew crawled out the door and won the championship.
How do you
And
feel
it'll
about all
be it.
that?
And well, I'm glad Drew won. I said I feel like if Drew doesn't win it here, then that's it for him. He's not going to get another world title match. So I felt like they did the right move in finally pulling the trigger,
Hmm.
and I think it was a smart move.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I like how it went out, and it'll be interesting to see the direction Cody goes in now that he's no longer champion, especially
Hmm.
with WrestleMania coming up. Like, where does that leave Cody? Because I'm sure a lot of people, even you and I, we were convinced Cody was going into WrestleMania as champion again.
I was very convinced that Cody was going into WrestleMania, and I'm still pretty convinced Cody's going to go into WrestleMania as the WWE champion. But it gives us a lot of options now on how we can, on one, how Cody can get back there, and two, if that doesn't happen, what are the options for the title matches going into WrestleMania? I think it leaves a lot of the doors wide open, and it's just the shakeup that SmackDown needed so badly. For the
Yeah,
longest
and
time, it was just it was just so formulaic with Cody as champion. Not
yeah,
that Cody did a bad job.
and Cody didn't really wrestle. Like that was the
Hmm.
issue with Roman. Is Roman didn't wrestle on weekly TV. I'm not saying he has to wrestle every single week,
Right.
but it's like
Right.
could have wrestled more, and it felt like he didn't really wrestle that much. And so
Yep.
I feel like it'll be interesting to the story that'll be told where this puts Jacob and Cody. Are they going to be in the Rumble match? Are they going to have a match at the Rumble?
Who knows? But
It'll be interesting to see.
yeah, but one thing has been announced. Going into the Royal Rumble, there's going to be a mini tournament to determine the number one contender for the WWE Championship at the Royal
Yep.
Rumble.
And
So there's
the winner will face Drew McIntyre. Yes,
so there's going to be four
and
matches.
there's some pretty interesting names in these matches.
Hmm. I believe one of them is was Trick Williams versus
Matt Cardona,
Matt Cardona. Yeah.
Woo, woo, woo.
Woo woo. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so that's it. And then we have Randy and the Miz,
Mm-hmm.
Sammy and Ilya,
Mm-hmm.
and Damian Priest and Solo Sikoa.
Damien, yeah. Out of those four, I could see Damien beating Solo. I
I
can,
see Damian beating
yeah,
Solo. Randy's definitely beating
yeah,
Miz.
obviously.
I
I can see
think,
Trick beating Matt Cardona.
yeah, I think it's trick because I think they want to have, they want to not trap the rocket on him, but you can tell they have big plans for Trick.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be interesting. And then Ilya, Sammy, I feel like that's a 50-50 toss up. I feel like they
Well,
could go
Ilya
either way.
defeated Sammy a month or so ago
For
for
the
the United
US,
States.
for the U, yeah. So is Sammy going to get his comeuppance, especially
I
because
think he will. Yeah.
Sammy's like, there's only one championship I haven't won. It's a world championship. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and an interesting fact, Sami Zayn is 0-12 against Drew McIntyre.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. So that's going to be a storyline. And out of those four, they're going to have a fatal four-way
Fatal
match.
four-way match.
I can't say that 10 times fast.
To determine the number one contender. Yes.
Exactly. So out of those
who
four,
do you think? Yeah, who do you think goes on to face Drew at the
now
Royal Rumble?
I think there's an interesting storyline here. Considering that Sami Zayn has talked about him becoming world champion. He said this last year too, and it didn't happen. Now he's coming into this year claiming that he wants to be world champion. And I think there's an interesting storyline you can play of Sami Zayn winning the Fatal 4-Way to become number one contender at the Royal Rumble to face Drew McIntyre. Now, I would not have Sami Zayn beat Drew McIntyre. And I think it doesn't make sense for right now to Drew to lose the title to Sami Zayn. I don't think it's Sami Zayn's time yet. I think they're going to test the waters with the Royal Rumble being in Saudi Arabia. But I think if the Saudi Arabian crowd rejoices to Sami Zayn, like I think they will, I think this might be the test to WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia next year.
Oh,
For Sami Zayn.
So you think Sami gets it done next year? You don't see him winning the world title this year?
I don't. I think they want to save that story for next year. And I think that they want to save that feel good moment in Saudi Arabia with Sami Zayn having a Muslim background. I believe Muslim. Is it Muslim? I could be wrong on that. I absolutely could be wrong on that. But Sami Zayn having the background that he does, with the Saudi Arabian crowd following him the way they do, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, no, I that's something I totally see happening, and I do believe that Sami is going to be a world champion. And we've talked about it before. I talked about it before a couple of months back. I told you, I'm like, Sami's going to win the Rumble, and Sami's going to win the title at WrestleMania this year. Now, now when I look at it, I don't see it happening.
Okay, so Cool says that Sami Zayn is Syrian and Canadian, so I was right about that, and is a proud Muslim. So I wanted to make sure I was right on that. I didn't want to say anything that was unfactual.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, good. You want to check your facts, but yeah, no, and because I told you, I was convinced that Sami was going to win the Rumble.
Right.
Like the moment it was announced in Saudi, I think I told you, I'm like, oh, it's Sami. Who else other than Sami? But now I don't see him winning the Rumble. I don't see him winning the Rumble because I think I'm with you. I think he is going to get the title match at the Royal Rumble, but he will come up short.
Exactly. And we can save our predictions for the Royal Rumble coming up on the next podcast. But I do think that Sami Zayn does win the Fatal 4-Way match and becomes the number one contender and ultimately loses to Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble.
In a close effort, it's not going to be like, oh, he gets squashed. It's going to be like, oh my God, is he going to do it? It's going to be like he's going to come up just short. That's the story I feel like that's going to play out.
Right.
Exactly. It's like he almost had it, but he was just short.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And then we can switch things over to AEW Dynamite. This past Wednesday was a good episode for AEW, coming off of their World's End pay-per-view. Jon Moxley faced Shelton Benjamin for the AEW Continental Championship. He won that match. was the eliminator match. It was a competitive back and forth match, and Shelton Benjamin with Bobby Lashley being out, he's pretty much picking up the slack as a solo competitor now. But obviously, John Moxley's kind of like in this weird in between phase. Like you can't really trust him as a babyface because he's been such a dastardly heel over the last couple of years, and so the fans don't really know how to react to him. But somehow, some way, John Moxley is a babyface again. But yeah, and just the big storylines. Andrade is back in AEW
Yep,
for like
he's back
the
in the
umpteenth
Don.
time.
Yeah, he's back in the Don Callis family. So it's
Mhm.
yeah. So Andrade, he's if you want to sign a wrestler, don't sign Andrade because he ain't loyal. He ain't gonna stay.
Exactly.
He ain't gonna stay.
He ain't gonna stay.
It makes me think of that the quote from The Office from Michael Scott. Suddenly she ain't yo ho, no
No
mo.
mo.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so that's Andrade. Suddenly he ain't your wrestler, no mo.
Right. And they're not talking
So
about me. They're talking about Andrade El Idolo.
Andrade
Um,
El Idolo, yes. Even though you
yes.
have this hunk of a man,
Yes.
Mike Andrade
Exactly.
here, but yeah, no.
Yes.
So there was that. I didn't watch it, but I saw like some of the big like talking points.
Yeah. And then
Um
you have Bandito
and
challenging MJF for the
oh
upcoming
yeah, yeah, that's
Maximum Carnage
yeah,
event.
that's what I saw. I saw the clip of that because MJF's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you only speak Spanish," and then Bandito grabs the mic. He's like, "I speak English, you stupid son of a."
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So I thought that was and you see MJF's face like he looked shocked,
Hmm.
like what? So yeah, so we're gonna get Bandito versus MJF, and
Yeah.
then not only that, we also and Jim Ross also came back to
Yeah,
AEW.
Good old JR, who was
Good old
battling a lot
JR.
of health issues as of late. Back on the commentary booth. Really good to see the greatest commentator in wrestling history back under, on the booth. At least it was for one match. And, he's been suffering through a lot of health issues. So the more we can get Jim Ross on television in 2026, the better.
So it was nice to see good old JR back. And then in the main event, it was Hangman Adam Page and Swerve Strickland
Hmm.
in a lights out stipulation, which I'm pretty sure is just like their version of like a street fight.
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
pretty sure that's what it looks like.
Right. They took on Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs.
Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs, Adam
Yeah.
Page and Swerve Strickland won. Yeah.
Yeah, good AEW Dynamite leading us into next Wednesday, which is tomorrow.
Yep.
Tomorrow, getting my days all mixed up. I thought it was today.
All right.
But yes, but it is now time to talk about the main topic of today. Since Drew McIntyre defeated Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship this past Friday on SmackDown, we're going to talk about our top 10 individual lists. The top 10 world title wins on television.
Yes.
So,
So this includes Raw and SmackDown. Pretty much any
mhm.
show that isn't a pay-per-view or PLE.
Right.
And there's been a handful, but some stood
I
out
have one non-Raw
more
and
than
SmackDown
others.
show. It's Saturday night's main event.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
I think all mine is Raw and SmackDown. Yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
have 1 through 10, but I'm not gonna really. I don't necessarily have an order. Like I'm not saying, oh, this one's the best one, and 10 is like the worst of the. No, I have a list of 10, but it's not in any specific order.
Okay. Mine is pretty
Um,
much listed by order.
yeah. Well, I mean, this first one I would say because I feel like it's probably the most famous world title change on Monday Night Raw, and that's Mankind defeating The Rock with the
Mhm.
help of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right. We'll get to that. That's no spoiler alert, but that's very, very high in my list. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the most iconic moments in Monday Night Raw history
And
right
that's
there.
also one of the loudest pops Stone Cold ever got.
Oh my gosh.
I
That's
mean, Stone
probably
Cold always got loud pops, but that was
yeah.
probably his loudest pop.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Like as soon
no question.
that glass shattered, you couldn't hear his music. That's how loud it
Hmm.
was.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and then he just comes in, hits The Rock with the chair, and then leaves.
Yep.
He says he
Hmm.
comes to open up a can and then leave.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, my number 10, because I'm doing this by order here, is AJ Styles versus Jinder Mahal in England on SmackDown, November 2017. One of the reasons, I think the big reason for this match that they had is because Brock Lesnar did not want to face Jinder Mahal at Survivor
And
Series.
and I don't think anybody wanted to see Brock Lesnar versus Jinder Mahal.
Right. Jinder Mahal had been
Well,
champion
well,
for many,
maybe,
many
well,
months.
well, maybe you, because I know Jinder Mahal is your favorite WWE champion of all
Oh
time.
my
So.
gosh. Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah. Uh, but Jinder Mahal had beaten Randy Orton very much like in a shock victory. I forgot which pay-per-view it was, but back in 2017,
Backlash. It was a backlash.
Backlash. Yeah, and he was champion for a majority of that year, surprisingly. But it was time to get the WWE title off of Jinder and put it back onto AJ going into the Royal Rumble, and then and then was this? Oh, this was
No, it was
2017.
going into Survivor Series. It was going into
Right.
Survivor
Sorry. Yeah.
Series
Going
because that's
into
when they were still, because that's when they were still
Yeah.
doing, champion versus champion, Raw versus SmackDown.
Right. Exactly.
And then AJ won in London, which was interesting because I think they had mentioned, I forget the exact number, but I know they said it was the first title change outside of the US on I think
Yeah.
on a Raw or SmackDown. I think it was the first title change to take place outside of North America.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. You go ahead again.
Yeah, okay. So I know I kind of already gave away my number one, but another one that I have, well, I guess I could go like 1 through 10 and you can go 10. I mean, like I said, mine aren't really in any particular order. But I do have Big E beating Bobby Lashley after he cashed in his Money in the Bank, which I believe was what,
Yeah.
2021.
2021.
Yeah,
So
and
that's actually my number 9. That's actually my number 9
yeah, so
moment.
I have that because I feel like Big E worked so hard and it was
Oh
a really
yeah.
deserving moment for him.
Mm-hmm.
And literally when after the ref counted 3, he got a massive pop from the crowd. Big E was super over.
Oh my gosh.
It
Yeah.
was well deserved, especially seeing how Kofi Kingston got his moment 2 years
Right.
prior at
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania. So it was kind of cool to just see Big E finally get his moment because I think because before his injury, Big E was very entertaining. He was great on the mic, great in the ring. Like he had like everything you looked for in a champion, and so I think it was great, and also not to. It was kind of cool to see, two African Americans fighting for the WWE title.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, this is my number 9 moment or match for a non-title, sorry, a world title match on television. This is my number 9 match here. Yeah, I think this is such an incredible moment for many, many reasons. One, it being that it's Big E because of the neck injury that he suffered shortly thereafter. And so for him to have had this moment means a lot more to fans and probably himself. I can only imagine. But yeah, I mean, this what an incredible moment. The were there fans here? I don't think there was fans. Was there fans? Yes, there was. Yeah, there was fans in the building
Yes,
for this. Yeah, and I just have to remember because I think this was right after the Thunderdome era.
yeah,
Yeah, there was fans in the building, and I do remember like the ovation that they gave for Big E because he had worked tremendously hard to get to this moment, and everyone knew that he was a future world champion, but it just never happened. And for it to happen to Kofi, people just wanted it so bad for Big E, and for him to finally have his moment to become WWE champion was incredible.
yeah, yeah. And so going on to my third one here, which might surprise some people, but I actually have Bobby Lashley
Hmm.
because he defeated the Miz. Or
Okay,
wait, no, was it Miz? No. He defeated Drew McIntyre
okay. Was this
because
during the Thunderdome era?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yes, or no, was it? No. It was Miz. It was Miz because Miz
Yeah, this was
cashed in
Miz.
his
Yeah.
Miz cashed in his Money in the Bank to win it, and then he was dodging like all challengers, and then Bobby was promised it, and Bobby got the match. It was a squash, but it was cool to see because Bobby Lashley, it was the first time he ever won a world title. He never won a world title before, even in his first run, where there were times where he probably should have been world champion during his first run. So that's why I have it, because it's like he finally won a world title, and he was doing some of his best work at the time. So that's why I have it here on my list.
So weird to think about 2020, 2021. I mean, in that Thunderdome era, I mean, that is such missable Monday Night Raws for me. I do not remember. I remember Bobby Lashley being champion, but gosh, I totally forgot that The Miz was WWE champion for like a week.
2 weeks, yeah, like 2 weeks. Yeah.
And holy shit, like that is just out of my memory bank for some reason. I mean, it's not that long ago, too.
Yeah, well, because that was the Money in the Bank that Otis won, and then The Miz won it from him in a match.
Yeah. I mean, we're in such, look at where WWE is now. Back 5 years ago, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable the change in the company.
It really goes to show you how much the crowd makes a difference.
Right, exactly. But, all right, going on to my number 8. It is a Iron Man match. Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. SmackDown, August 2003. This is coming off the heels of SummerSlam 2003 and the heated rivalry between Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle. I remember this match. It was a 30-minute Iron Man match, and these guys went balls to the walls in that time period. This is one of the rare times that an Iron Man match was on television and on UPN. I remember just being so hooked into watching this match. Brock Lesnar defeated Kurt Angle to win again the WWE title. But this is starting up heel Brock Lesnar going into the fall of 2003 and eventually into 2004.
Was this Brock's second world title win?
I believe it might have been his second or third.
Yeah, because he beat The Rock for his first one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, because I know he won it again.
No, this is probably his third, because then he won his second at WrestleMania 19, and then he lost it in between and then regained it here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
What a great match. Yeah. Between these two. I mean, you have Kurt Angle at his absolute peak here. Brock Lesnar, a young Brock Lesnar, I mean, the most athletic strongman you can ever imagine at that point. Yeah. Really, really, really good match.
Yeah. So then the next one on my list, I have Rey Mysterio winning the WWE Championship on Raw in 2011. Now, I know most people remember this as the night John Cena basically took Rey's moment away. Which
he did, because he's selfish. He's selfish.
Not going to disagree. I ain't going to disagree with you there, but before that, it was a nice moment for Rey because he hadn't been champion, or he'd been world champion before, but he had never been WWE champion. And so it was nice to see him like get his moment, even though didn't last long. But you could tell the crowd was happy. They were celebrating backstage, like, popping champagne and all that. So it was just cool to see Rey get recognized for all his hard work. And I remember, because I watched it, it was him versus The Miz in the finals, because there was a tournament. He's the WWE champion. I vividly remember watching that episode of Monday Night Raw where Rey Mysterio won the title.
Because CM Punk won the title at Money in the Bank.
This was following him leaving, and then later in that night, I know Cena won the title, but then that's
weirdly back. Two things from that night I do remember. One, that the title that Rey Mysterio won looked like such a replica title. If you go back and watch it.
It was a toy belt. It was
a replica toy belt that he won. And I was thinking to myself, why the F did they not have like an actual title to give him? Whatever the reason was. Two, I remember Jim Ross being on commentary for that match. And I don't remember Jim Ross during that era. 2011.
See, because 2011, outside of the summer of Punk, was not a very good year for WWE.
Yeah. Well, it was, I think. Well, it had its hit. The Rock was back. Some good moments there. And I think, obviously, the Punk and Cena stuff was a very big hit. CM Punk was on the up and coming, but then some pretty bad moments, too.
So I have that one. Even though I know most people remember for John Cena winning the title at the end of the
Hmm.
night, but I still think it was a great moment for Ray. The crowd was happy, and it was just nice to see Ray finally win the WWE Championship.
All right. So my number 7 is a fatal 4-way to crown a new Universal Champion. This is coming off the heels of SummerSlam 2016, where Finn Balor, who we talked about earlier, had to relinquish the newly won Universal Championship because of a shoulder injury. But Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins versus weirdly Big Cass.
Big ass.
Big ass.
Big ass.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that was a really odd time when they were trying to push Big Cass, and it
Yeah.
not that it didn't work, it just like it was so random that like a tag team wrestler just suddenly getting a world title match.
Right. Yeah, he had just broken up from Enzo, and I think they really want to try him as a singles. But this was, you can still pretty much say this was the highlight of Kevin Owens' career. So in this fatal 4-way, Triple H, he attacks, he basically betrays Seth Rollins, who
First
he was in the authority with.
Well, first he takes out Roman and he helps
Yes.
Seth, and he puts Seth on top of Roman. And then when it looks like he's going to help Seth, that's when he pedigree Seth, and you can just hear the crowd like, and even Michael Cole's like, "Oh my god, oh my god!"
Yep.
So so it was like really, it was something.
Yep. So Kevin Owens capturing his first and only world championship in
Such a
WWE.
shame. Such a shame. That
Yeah.
man should be a multi-time world champ by now.
And then it got, ruined several months later by him losing to Bill Goldberg. But
In a
we
squash
digress.
match. In a
Yes.
squash, yes.
All right, next on your list.
So my next one is actually, this one just recently happened. It actually happened on SmackDown. I have Drew McIntyre winning the Undisputed WWE
The only reason why I
Championship.
didn't put that on my list is because I think it is a better match than AJ versus Jinder, but it's also a better. Well, I can't say that, but it's a better match than AJ and Jinder. But we just talked about it, so
Yeah, but no, I put it just because it's like it was a feel good moment, especially because I felt like there were a lot of people that were expecting Cody to retain.
Mhm.
And so I think that was not that it was like a complete shock, but I think people were just like, "Oh my god, they actually they did it." And apparently, Cody and Drew before their match went to creative and they pitched the title change and they followed through with it. So I have Drew simply because it's like he's worked so hard. He got screwed over. He first won the title with no fans, and then he lost the world title in like 5 minutes. And so it's nice that Drew finally gets a moment as champion. In fact, he even posted on Instagram him sleeping with the WWE title. So
Yeah. Well, Drew McIntyre, he's always gonna relish in his victories, and it's pretty classic that he would do that on his own Twitter.
yeah. And then he put a funny tweet that said, "No longer bored at work." Yeah, I thought that was funny. He put out a tweet that says "No longer bored at work," and
That's
I'm
fucking
like, "That's
funny.
so." I know it's so fitting because yeah. So no, that was great. So that's what's next on my list. So now we're getting into your top 5.
My top 5 is Bret Hart versus Psycho Sid. Psycho Sid beating Bret the Hitman Hart in a steel cage match on Raw for the lead up to WrestleMania 13. This is the night where Bret the Hitman Hart absolutely snaps. And this is actually before the actual heel turn. But mass chaos goes in all different areas of ringside. At the time, you had Undertaker, you had Vader, you had Stone Cold coming out. Absolute chaos throughout this match. And Bret Hart justifiably is screwed out of the WWE Championship. This is where Psycho Sid wins his second WWF Championship. And after this match, Bret Hart just loses it. Vince McMahon is in the ring. And this is before Vince McMahon is, the evil Mr. McMahon character.
Was this before the screw job?
Mm-hmm. This is before the screw job. Because Bret Hart's still in the company.
So this is before the Montreal screw job.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So this is before the Montreal screw job because obviously Brett's still in the company here. But Vince McMahon is in the ring, and Vince McMahon has to tell Bret Hart, Bret, you got to be disappointed. And Bret just absolutely goes ape shit, pushes Vince McMahon to the floor. And this is where you didn't hear cussing. You didn't hear any obscenities at all on WWF television. It was strictly a PG product. Bret Hart says the bullshit word. He says he's been screwed left and right. He's even calling out Gorilla Monsoon, turning out a blind eye. He's saying everyone's screwing him, and he just absolutely loses it. And this is one of the first times where you saw real edginess on WWF television.
Do you think they were acting, or do you think they were?
Oh well, no, it was all for
being real.
Yeah. I mean, it was all kayfabe, but what a great moment, though. What a great moment. All right, next on your list.
Next on my list, I have Kevin Owens. So again, like I said, it was it was actually a good match for it being a fatal 4-way. The crowd was very much behind Kevin Owens winning, judging by the pop that he got, and of course the shocking moment of Triple H turning on Seth, which officially made Seth Rollins a babyface for like the first time in his singles career. Which of course that led to other things, but not to go too much off tangent. But yeah, it was great to see KO win. Sucks that that's been his only world title at this point, but it was well deserved and well earned. And I think the way they did it with the story was very, very well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Very good. All right, next on my list is The Miz defeats Randy Orton on Raw, November 2010. This is where The Miz cashes in his Money in the Bank after many, many months, many attempts to cash in Money in the Bank, and this is the first time. Like I mentioned earlier, I did not remember The Miz winning the title for the second time.
Yeah, not to go up. This was actually the next one on my list, so I'll talk about.
So we can, after yeah. What a great moment for The Miz. I think, absolutely well earned. Him, having his moment against Randy Orton, and he cashed in, and it also looked like Randy Orton was going to beat him.
Yeah, and it gave and then that's where we got the well famous, one of the best WWE memes of Angry Miz Girl.
Exactly.
So yeah, but it was a good moment, especially because like not that the Miz was a jobber, but he was more of like a tag team wrestler, like mid Carter at that point, because he already was like I think he was U.S. champ a couple times already. So yeah, so I think it was good, especially because it's like WWE for years had a struggled building new stars, and I felt like that was a really good way of building the Miz. I know his reign may not have been like that memorable, but the fact that it showed you like, see, they were capable of building stars if the moment was right. And I felt like the way they went about it was great, especially because he beat Randy Orton. It's not like he just beat some random guy who was like barely fit. Is like, no, he beat a main event, multi-time world champion caliber superstar in Randy Orton.
Right. Exactly. So great moment for The Miz, him winning his first title, and then that took him all the way to WrestleMania, where he beat John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania, one of the worst WrestleManias of all time.
And he doesn't remember that match because he got concussed. Yeah. So yeah, but most people remember it. Yeah. No, that WrestleMania wasn't that good. But anyway, so Miz was next on my list.
Oh yeah. Then my number 3 on my list. You have Andre the Giant defeating Hulk Hogan on Saturday Night's Main Event in 1988. This was the only time that Andre the Giant was WWF champion.
And he was champion for what, like 2 minutes?
2 minutes, because as Andre the Giant, in his own words, said he's going to relinquish the World Tag Team titles to Ted DiBiase, which he meant the WWF title.
He really did say world tag title?
Yeah, he goofed up. Yeah.
I have to go back and watch it. I didn't know that he actually said it. I just know I know he sold the championship to Ted DiBiase, but I didn't know he actually said world tag titles.
The reason why this is so big too is because this was primetime television, Saturday night's main event back in 1988. You had 30 million people tuning in to this. So it's the biggest numbers that the company has ever done and probably still has ever done. Watching this main event. And this was the rematch to WrestleMania 3, I believe from the year prior. And so, yeah, it paid off well. And it was a big time main event where Hogan lost the title because Hogan did. I mean, you got to think about it. Back then, dude, we always talk about Roman Reigns being like, champion for 1,300 days. Back then, dude, you had like 2, 3 champions in the 80s. It was Bob Backlund and maybe Bruno Sammartino at some point, or there was the Iron Sheik, and then it was Hulk Hogan. Like Hulk Hogan dominated the 80s. And he did not. That was the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time he lost the title.
Yeah, don't work for me, brother.
Exactly. But he lost it to the boss being Andre the Giant that night. So, big numbers for WWE.
Yeah. So, but anyway, next on my list is that it's something you had mentioned earlier in your list. Is I have AJ Styles winning the WWE Championship on SmackDown. Again, I think it's mostly because, like, one, how talented and how over he was, and I feel like people were just tired of Jinder at that point. And I think especially because it was in London, the crowd had like a way better reaction than if it was in like the US. And also because it's like Survivor Series is coming up, and Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles is a much more intriguing match than Brock Lesnar versus Jinder Mahal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, my number 2 is we are in the peak of 1998, dead hot in the summer. WWF was never hotter than what they were in 1998. And this was Stone Cold Steve Austin looking to get back his WWF championship, which he lost one night prior at the King of the Ring in 1998 to Kane. He lost it in a first blood match at the King of the Ring. And Austin got his rematch one night after on Monday Night Raw. And this was one of the biggest Austin matches in his career. I remember him coming out to such an ovation that night. I mean, the fact that he was the challenger at this point, even Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross had to note it. He's the challenger in this. And then Kane coming out as the WWF champion. It was big. It was big for Kane's career to have that moment. He only had the title for one night, but you listen to Austin win back that title. When he gives Kane that stunner, it's something that they'll never replicate again in WWE history. There was magic there with nobody else, and so that's why I put it at number 2. Yeah.
But I also have not he wasn't next, but I'll figure I should talk about it. I have Austin also, because I do remember him. I mean, I know I wasn't born yet, I wasn't watching, but I do remember that the moment like he did win it back, because I remember seeing stuff of like, oh, Kane was only champion for a day, and then Austin won it back. So that's why I remember, because I remember hearing about it. So
I skipped over one. I skipped over one match. It's Stone Cold, actually a year later. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker on Monday Night Raw. Austin again winning the world title on a Monday Night Raw. Undertaker actually talked about this on his podcast. He talked about them coming in one evening and Vince saying, this is not working. We're going to change things up. We're going to put the title back on Steve. Meaning the Undertaker was going to drop the title that night to Stone Cold. And Undertaker wasn't happy about it, but they did the business anyways. And yeah, good match, good reaction from Stone Cold winning back the title. I believe this is June of 1999.
Yeah. So I'm going to go over, because I'll let you go over your number 1, but I'm going to go over my last one here. This one might be come as a shock to you, but I put it on here because we were there for it. When Brock Lesnar beat Kofi Kingston on the first SmackDown on Fox, at the Staples Center. And I know it was like 30 seconds, something like that.
Yeah.
But I have that up there just because it's like that was the first show on Fox, and it's like you want a big moment, and I feel like that was a big moment because and especially the way it happened is a shocking way that he just won it like so quickly, and I felt like that's how you want to kick off like a new generation, a new era with SmackDown being on Fox, and then we got the very, 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 very short-lived WWE run of Cain Velasquez.
Cain Velasquez, can you believe that?
Yeah. When he walked out, we were like, everybody was like, "Who?" Like,
oh yeah,
because Rey Mysterio came out, but he came with so that was
because he came out he came out with Rey Mysterio's song,
and we thought like, oh, is there going to be like a match right now, or
I can't even remember. Did he even wrestle in WWE?
He had one match with Brock and he lost.
Again, that's out of my memory bank. Out of my memory.
That match was crap. So you're not missing much.
Yeah, they only did that to play off their UFC match.
I'm pretty sure it's at a Saudi show. So
yeah.
But yeah, so that's my last one, simply just because I felt like it was the shock factor, and because we were there, and like I think that was really the first. I think that was the first show where I actually saw a world championship change hands.
Mm-hmm. It's such shocking. I mean, we fully expected like a match to happen, not just Kofi go up 1, 2, 3.
Not to think that, because I think we all knew like, okay, there's no way Kofi wins this. Like, there's no way. But also, it's like Brock also hadn't wrestled on TV in like years. I think he hadn't wrestled on TV since like 2003.
Right. Yeah.
And to this day, fun fact, that's Brock's only television match since he came back in 2012.
Well, he was supposed to wrestle.
Match he had.
He was supposed to wrestle in a tag team match.
Then he
him and Cody?
Raw after Mania 39. We were there, and then he turned heel and attacked Cody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's been times where he was supposed to wrestle, but then he just went crazy. But yeah, so I put that on there simply because it was like the shock value, and because we were there, because even we were like, what? Like we couldn't believe it.
Right. Exactly. All right. My number one, and this is going to be number one in the history of professional wrestling at all times, not John Cena. Forget about that bum. He's retired. It is a January.
Watch your mouth there.
Watch your mouth and show some damn respect.
Watch your mouth and show some respect. But yeah, I know what your number one is. I already talked about it. But
January 1999, it is Mankind challenging The Rock for the WWF Championship. Lots of variables in this match, considering you had the corporation on The Rock's side, and then Mankind recruiting DX to be on his side. Back and forth match, and then at the very end of this match, Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out, screws over the corporation, hits The Rock over with a steel chair. DX helps cover the Rock, puts Mankind on top of him. 1, 2, 3. You talk about a crowd going absolute ballistic for Mankind. It was unbelievable to watch at that time, and it's still unbelievable to go back and watch it now. I mean, you look at what Stone Cold when he comes out, the roof is shaking off the hard cam.
I'm pretty sure the camera is shaking too. I think with how loud it was. Yeah, like I said, that was probably the loudest pop of Austin's career.
Oh yeah, and then that time Mick Foley winning the title. I mean, they pan into Vince McMahon's face, and he is so distraught. This
is Foley's baby boy.
Yeah. So, absolute incredible moment. That's why it's always going to be number one.
Like I said, that was my number. I know mine didn't really have a particular order, but I did say that, that was my number one. Because I also think that's probably the most famous title change on television. So,
right. Exactly. All right. That wraps up our list, and that's going to wrap up today's podcast. Ryan, how you feeling? You feeling good about that list?
Yeah, sure. I like my list. Our lists were very similar, but we had different reasons for putting what we did, and then of course we had some slight differences. But I liked my list. I thought your list was solid, and yeah,
definitely. But yeah, that wraps up today's podcast, guys. I want to thank you guys for listening on the new platforms for Rasslin with Brian and Mike. I want to thank you guys for, again, your always continued support for everything that we do. A new LA Sports Roundup will be out very, very soon. Ryan has to wear a LA Rams jersey because his poor little kitty cat Panthers lost. They lost in the wild card, but it's okay. He'll have fun time wearing that Rams jersey. Look out for more content along this week.
And then next Wednesday we have something big coming up.
Mm. 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 We'll see what that is.
Yeah, we know what it is, but we'll leave you with that. We don't want to spoil it.
Exactly.
But yeah, so tune in next Wednesday because something big is gonna happen. Not even probably. It's the biggest thing that happened on this podcast since we started it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So look out. We might have a special guest coming up.
And no, Mike's not taking his shirt off.
I know it's not John Cena. Ryan wishes.
Well, he's there. We just can't see him.
Exactly.
But so tune in for next Wednesday, and just be on the lookout for other content. Of course, like Mike says, give him support on his LA Sports Roundup as he talks about Los Rams and Los Chargers for always failing. You could talk about the Chargers too, yeah. But yeah, so tune into that. So make sure you tune in for Mike's LA Sports Roundup. But yeah, thank you guys again for your support. We didn't do this without you. You know, we did some new things like new name for the podcast. We're including AEW.
Exactly.
Which is hard for me, but I'm doing my best.
Since you call it a pissant company, but
it is a pissant company, but I figured, at least try in. So yeah, so I'm at least paying more attention to it, even if it's like I'm not watching. It's like I at least know the big storylines happening now. So
exactly.
But yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in. 2026 is gonna be a great year.
Yes, sir.
I know we recorded one last week, but to say it again, Happy New Year. Hope 2026 is a good one for y'all because it's gonna be good for us. We got big things coming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, yeet.
No, yeet. All right, we'll do that and see you guys next time.